Once again, Jesus gives us a parable we might get totally wrong. Let's get into the gospel passage for proper 24C. Luke 18 begins with this. Jesus told his disciples a parable about their need to pray always and not lose heart. Then he goes into that parable, and it involves this widow and an unjust judge. It doesn't say she's a just widow. It doesn't say all judges are unjust, but it does say this judge is an unjust judge, and that she is persistent, and that he gets sick of her persistence and gives in. And then it gets interesting because Jesus compares this moment to God, saying, if this guy gives in, imagine how easy it is for God to offer what you ask. And then Jesus goes on further and ponders, if the Son of Man shows up, will he find any faith here? Now, this parable feels too much like a call to a general sense of persistence, that what we're being asked to do is just try really hard, that's the whole point of it. And on top of that, we might get confused by how that judge is unjust, like what makes him unjust. And then we might think that Jesus is arguing we need to convince God to be decent to us, which has such repercussions on our theology if we believed that's what was here. So this is a teaching about surviving a dark time. If we look back at chapter 17, we can see it's clearly a response. This is after Jesus has said all of this stuff, and now he's saying, seriously, like, you gotta have faith, you gotta have hope, you gotta give it your best, right? And so this is the underlying current of what's here. But that vision, this parable, is so potent that it may steal our attention from what's going on around it. It may become its own thing about being super persistent all the time. But what it does is it actually gives us this template of how to show our faith, how to have faith in the midst of an unjust world. This is a parable of resistance through persistence. The idea here of this unjust judge, that he is not on her side. Well, notice how many widows are at the mercy of how few judges there are. And this is the constant earth of this story, right? This is the ground of this story, is just how common the experience of needing to plead to somebody with authority to even have survival in our world. And then the authority, meanwhile, is like, yeah, I don't know if you filed the paperwork right. I don't know. Maybe your argument seems pretty weak. I don't know. It's not my fault if you die, but I'm not going to save your life. But just imagine Jesus kind of like a teacher in a field placement, right? And so we're running around doing our stuff, and the teacher goes off and relies on us to do our stuff. And when the teacher comes back and checks on us, is there anything redeeming happening here? I mean, that's the question. Jesus is not saying that the Son of Man coming back will be looking for any individual to show off, and because there are no individuals showing off. It's actually the opposite of this. It's what has the system given us? Like, what's going on in the world, and can we find anything that's good? right? It's not the question of the individual. It's a question of the whole. Like, is there any faith here? Because the system itself keeps knocking the little guy down. So ultimately, we have this opportunity to say, well, here's how you stand up. Here's how you persist in faith during dark times. You persist in faith by supporting justice. You seek faith by seeking justice. You support all of it by standing up with hope and continuously pushing so that you can find it, so that just future is available to us. It takes hope to do that. It takes persistence to do that in light of this other stuff, right? Ultimately, where is the hope to be found? Where is the faith to be found? Is it going to be found in people just sitting there going, I'm hoping, I'm faithing here, I'm faithing? Or is it going to be found in the world where stuff is happening? And what do they find when they look out into our world right now and say, what is happening? Where is the justice? And where is the injustice? All of that. I hope and pray that justice is found here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.